Greetings one and all, and welcome back to Awkward Analysis with Chromoid. Today we're going to be reviewing the Caroleans submitted by MysticPing. And since this is basically a 5 of the same tank entry, I'll just review one of these tanks, and this should be over pretty quickly. But this is going to be the filler video for today. Sadly, we will not have an episode of Tank Wars out today, just recording and editing is taking a little longer than expected. But otherwise, we should be okay. This will be quick. This should be enjoyable, I hope. But all that said, let's get right into it. We'll start with the one behind us. Like I said, they're all the same tanks, so we'll just do one, and that should give you an idea of what they're capable of. This is a Stridsvagn F. It is a very nice looking tank. It has this a very traditional tank, lower glacis, upper glacis, kind of a skirt mechanism here on the side. Very low to the ground, not a lot of clearance. Now, I mean, most tanks will have clearance, but you see extra wide skirts here, just kind of give a little extra wheel protection. There is some missing blocks in the rear there. I'm not sure what that's all about. It may not have had enough. Yeah, it's right at 10,000, so it probably didn't have enough to put an extra beam right there, but that's okay. 2 layers of metal protect the outer wheels, and there's only one set of wheels, so you really don't want to lose any of them. There are two pairs of turning wheels in the front, and none in the back, so it's all forward steering. It's just like a car. Decent amount of power wheels, but probably not the fastest machine. Has a heavy armor beam in the center of the bottom hole. I suppose that's where the turret sits. Yes, it does. We'll get to the turret in a second. In here we have some repair bots, some fuel storage right in the front, an engine, some electric engines. I'm not sure what those are for. They're not sitting on any batteries. Oh, they are. Okay. They're both sitting on the same bank of batteries, though, so... yeah, so I guess it's redundant. If one of them gets shot off, the other one will come in and take over. I don't know. Battery not connected to an electric engine. I'm not sure why this is here. It's not connected to this electric engine over here. But oh well. That's just how it is. We have some storage here. Most of this is just power and repairs. And it's protected by a layer of ERA, 2 layers of stone, and then a layer of heavy armor. So got some decent protection here. It'll be hard to punch through these easily. And all in all, this setup brings us to about 620 power if you include the power from the electric engines, which is really nice. The auxiliary power from electric engines is something a lot of people don't really think about, but it does add a nice little bonus to your power, especially if you're using something that has high draw and you just need a backup in case you draw a little extra. It's just nice to have that there. We have a layer of ERA, metal, and then heavy armor protecting the side turret here. I'm going to close this up a little so you can take a look. There's the heavy armor belt. There's the metal and metal. I'm not sure. There's 2 layers of heavy armor. 1, 2. The upper 3 layers are metal. The bottom layer is metal. So I'm guessing this is the part that he really doesn't want getting hit. I'm not sure why. Oh yeah, that's the part that has the autoloaders. Okay. Well, that makes sense. He's put his heavy armor where it's going to really count. These autoloaders are 2 meters tall, as you can see here, and they're right in this section, so he's protecting those. Those are the bits that could explode on an APS cannon. The rest, I mean, you don't want any of this damage, obviously, but you can lose coolers, you can lose even connectors, although that'll probably sever some of your ability to cool down the barrel or even lower your gauge. But you get hit in one of these, or hit in the clip right there, and the entire thing goes up in a ball of fire, especially if it's loading any sort of high explosive or fragment or even EMP rounds. Just kinetic rounds explode. I mean, it's a pretty volatile system. We have 600 ammunition, so there's all 6 boxes right there. Again, protected by metal, and then ERA. Well, there's metal there as well, but you see what I mean. Got ammo processors on each side of them too. Those are to refuel or refill the ammo barrels, and they'll also give a little extra, padding in case something gets through that metal. It'll take out the processors first and maybe deflect a shot off of these. I think that's a smart move. And I think this is the only ammunition that the cannon fires. So let's look at it. Yep, it's all fragment. And let's see, this is the caliber of the gun. I'm thinking 330. Yep, fragment shells at this caliber are going to do 165 damage with 257 fragments. I'm pretty sure only 60 of them spawn, so anything over 60 gets added to the damage. So if I'm right on that, I could be wrong, but if I'm right on that, that means that's an extra 197 damage that's added to your fragment. Oh no, I'm sorry. reading this wrong. Fragment damage is 257. You get 165 fragments, so that's 105 extra damage, which is going to be 362 damage total for each fragment, and there's 60 of them. And they each have penetration of 5, I think. So yeah, that's a pretty beefy shell. Not the highest penetrating shell, but it does a lot of surface damage. And let's see, what's the cone angle on these? 5, 5, 5. So think of these as frag missiles. You can adjust the cone angle on each individual frag warhead. I set them all to 5, so they're going to be focused in a very narrow area. High penetration value, or well, high damage value in a small concentrated area is a little like a discount heat shell, without the high explosive effect or the high penetration effect. These obviously do not penetrate as deep as a heat. Then again, they do more damage than a heat. While they don't have the special ability to detonate ammo boxes or ammo clips or various other things that are very weak to heat. It will do indiscriminate damage to everything it encounters. So you get a lot more bang for your buck. If you're just looking for just pure damage and penetration, frags are typically a little bit better at it than heat are. Heat is a specialized surgical removal shell, in my opinion. It's almost, unless you have ERA, it's guaranteed to go clean through the tank, and it's going to kill anything that's susceptible to it, which would be like if you hit an ammo box, it's an insta kill for that. ERA, I don't know, I'm using an old version of From the Depths. This is the version that was currently available in like the standard version that was available when this tournament started. That was the rule. I was going to save this version and use it for the tournament so people didn't get their designs broken by later updates, because I knew it was going to take a while to do this series. But I don't know if the ERA works the same way as it does now, but currently ERA not only blocks heat, it can also mitigate frag damage. So if fragments hit it, it will block all of them. And I know this mechanic isn't in this version, but in the current version, ERA now also mitigates high explosive damage if they are hit by the high explosive. So a shell with high explosives hits an ERA block, it'll cut the HE detonation range and damage down to about 20% of its original value. It's pretty strong now, but I can't remember frags if at this point ERA still blocked frags. I can't remember. Not as strongly as heat, but it could seriously mitigate what frags did. Anyway, that's enough about that. AIs in the back here, we do have the land movement algorithm card, prioritization card, and the aim point selection card. So these will fire at ammunition barrels first and then AI. That is a risky chance to take, as far as I'm concerned, in any tournament, really. Especially when the builders know ahead of time that the aim point card is going to be allowed. The reason for this is aim point cards, like I said, they'll target ammo barrels first, and it's really easy to spoof these things by building your machine with ammunition on a stick way out the side of the tank or on top of the tank, or spinning on a spin block. It can get kind of hard to spoof them. Now, I did kind of counter that in this in this tournament. I allowed sticks with ammo barrels on them, but I said you couldn't put them further than 5 meters from the hole, and that includes putting them in the turret. The turret could be like 10 meters tall with an ammo barrel on top. You couldn't do that. So hopefully that that makes these things at least a little bit viable. It still allows you to build ammunition that's away from your tank, and it won't hurt the actual hole. If it's 5 meters away, it won't even touch the hole. And having them on the sides or on the top or whatever can kind of distract these cards. But I wanted to give the cards a little bit of a chance, make it so we didn't have like 20-meter long tanks with a stick on one, with an ammo barrel on one end and a turret on the other. You just don't want any of that. Anyway, that's enough of that. We have the standard stuff here for detection. HA armor in the back. Interestingly enough, 1, 2, yeah, it's surrounded completely on 3 sides by heavy armor. That's not a bad idea, and of course metal armor in the front, because at this point, let's see, 1, 2, 3, yeah, at this point, if something gets through to the AI from the front, no amount of heavy armor is really worth putting here. You just put some metal, and if it goes all the way through the tank, then it was probably never going to stop to begin with. Probably a heat shell, for honest. But he surrounded the back and the sides with heavy armor, because this tank can be shot in the back and the sides. And that's interesting. I see some people not armoring the back that heavily. But The Caroleans, they have really good rear armor. So very good, well-rounded tank, good armor pattern on it. Definitely, MysticPing definitely invested a lot in his armor. And if you've watched the tournament with these things in it, it seems to have paid off for him pretty well. I hope that streak of luck continues for him. Up here we have the armament of the Carolean. And you see we have I was almost right, it was a 333 millimeter gun. Probably, I've been told 333 is the sweet number for APS. I'm not sure what that means. I haven't really experimented with optimizing APS. I mean, I try, but I'm not like super experimental with it. Interestingly enough, there is no mantlet on this tank, and that's going to be a bit of an issue. The gun can traverse and depress very, very slightly without a mantlet, but it's very, very small amount. And yeah, and the mantlet provides a little bit of extra protection too. So I'm not sure why there's no mantlet on this. Maybe he figured he could build a better mantlet. Yeah, I put ERA all around it, put metal right around it. But you could still put a 1 meter mantlet right there. Maybe it was forgotten. I don't know, but you could put one right there. It would just add a little bit extra. Because the barrel, if you look at the barrel of an APS, it's 225 health, 12 armor, and 50 weight. You look at the mantlet, 350, 15, and 60. It's a big difference. And those are just 1 meter. You could fit those in that little square right there. You don't have to have a barrel. But you know, MysticPing I think has reasons. I don't know why, but a lot of times when I express my opinion of something and I'm like, oh, I don't think this is a good mechanic, then someone steps in and says, actually, Chromoid, you were wrong. This is really good and it's really clever, and then I feel stupid. So I'm not going to knock it. I like the setup on the coolers here. Very compact, very efficient. I'm interested to see how much of a cooldown this barrel has, because there's not a whole lot of coolers on it. Probably not a high fire rate. Yeah, there's no limit on it, so it probably just fires whenever it's ready. 30 shells racked in clips. We do have, let's see, 6 autoloaders. That means 5 shells in each clip. 4 shells in each clip plus 1 in the autoloader. Very, very compact little turret. I like it. I think this is very efficient. Not a high rate of fire, but then again, when you're firing shells like that, like the frag shells that we saw, it probably doesn't need to have a high rate of fire. Now, against some entries, I'm thinking especially Slugfest and other entries that spew shells at a ridiculous fire rate, that low rate of fire may become a big problem. But that's why the Caroleans carry these. And these are big missiles. Each Carolean carries a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 block missile, which means that between them they carry 30 blocks worth of gantries. They aren't even using the full amount of gantries that they could use. In fact, they could go with one more. Let's see, do I have it right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's just 6. So 6 times 5 is 30. They could have gone with, I think, a 7th block on this, because that would make it a 7-block missile. And 7 times 5 is 35. The limit was 36. So I think honestly, kind of a missed opportunity there. But anyway, you can see here it has 3 fins in the back, fuel thruster, 3 blocks of fuel, or 3 fuel modules, 4 high explosive modules, and then, of course, a laser beam rider receiver on the front. Not a laser designator, interestingly enough, but, you know, laser beam rider receivers, if you fire them in a straight line, you pretty much don't need to worry about them missing the laser. And I wonder if that's why there is no mantlet on this, to actually limit the traverse of the gun. Because if the gun can traverse and get on target before the turret turns there, then the missile's going to fire at an angle to the target. So maybe he's trying to get as direct a fire line as he could. Though I think you could have just gone with an elevation mantlet. Once again, just put an elevation mantlet in. You can see there has a low azimuth, but a very high elevation. Then again, 5 degrees is a lot of traverse. Even for a missile, so it might I don't know. Maybe that was the reason that it was done that way. I don't know. Let's see here. We do have a rangefinder with armor, and we have a visual camera. That's going to be a camera gimbal tracker. So that's your tracker. That's your rangefinder for finding the targets, and that makes a pretty accurate little gun. There is a staggered fire add-on here, which I think is cute, because obviously you're not going to stagger fire anything with just 1 missile on top. But maybe it's just an old habit, you know, always put those on. Missile identify friend or foe is important, because you do not want your missile accidentally targeting another friendly. Although, if you have a laser-guided missile, then the only time it's going to target your friendly is if your friendly runs in front of it. That's really the only time that you're going to have that issue. And that's about it for the Carolean. I think that did that pretty quickly. Let's hop on here real quick and see what we will see about its speed, its gun, and then we'll wrap this up. Get this here. Fire control computer here. I'm going to sit on top of that one. Here we go. Nope. There we go. Alright, and giddy up. Excuse me. Alright, so we're getting up to 33 meters per second. Not bad. Close to 40 meters per second. Fast little tank. Let's see how I make a turn real quick. There we go. Yep, and there's that car steering again, tilting it over. The skirts do help to kind of catch it when it does that. It drops to about 25 meters per second when it tilts. Or 22 meters per second. Not a bad deal though. We're gonna slow her down really quickly, and we're gonna do a fire test on this. Now, when I fire, I am gonna fire the missile and the gun. So what I'm actually gonna do here is try to make this separate from, where are we? Where? There we go. Make these two separate. And did I just use one for the other? I didn't. Okay, good. And then I gotta go down here and hit the turret. If you don't put the turret on your control, then it's just not gonna work. Oh, I can't do that. Okay, well. It doesn't matter. We'll just do that. Alright. So now I have it on one. I'm going to be able to control the turret and the gun. Now, I want to show you something before I fire this gun. If I can get there. There you go. You see, I can traverse the barrel a little bit. And the turret traverse really makes it so I don't have to... or I can elevate the barrel. I'm sorry. Elevate and depress the barrel a little bit. I don't really have to traverse it because the turret's going to handle that. I think that really does keep the turret on track with the target, so the missile has a good line of fight, a good line to fire on. You see there, just the depression. I guess you don't really need that much depression when your gun is that long, but still, oh, it's interesting. I've just never seen that done before. Interesting choice. Anyway, let's go ahead and fire this thing. I'm gonna get over here so you can look at it. And that frag shell went straight in. And you can see the ERA did block it a little bit. Do that. Punched straight through that metal beam. Did not kill the engine, but it did get through the metal beam pretty quickly. Do this again. Let's see what our rate of fire is here. I gotta line myself up with this barrel. I'm never gonna be able to hit anything. Lower my aim a little bit. You see, it's not the barrel cooling down is actually the problem. It could fire a lot faster if it had decent cooldown. And I need to stay with this gun or I'm not going to be able to hit anything. And we're going to speed that up because we're knocking ourselves backwards. There we go. Come up closer here. Use the gun as a brake in just a second. Oh jeez, I missed. Probably one of the least exciting parts of this review is where I try to actually show you what the weapons do because I'm a terrible shot. There we go. You see here the autoloaders are keeping up, and there you go, right through the front of the gun. That was the first hit to the gun mantlet, and it went straight through. So the top is obviously a little weak. Get over here and see if I can put one straight through his turret. There you go. The ERA did block the shot there. You can see that. Straight into the ERA once more. Not a lot of damage. I think the ERA is blocking the fragments actually, which is really nice. Let's try this back hull here. Again, nothing. Hit the skirt. You can see how well the armor works on these things, and what's really happening is the armor behind the metal that you see is stacking up its armor class with the exterior armor. So I'm not hitting a 10 armor class metal slope, I'm actually hitting something along the lines of a 35 to 40 armor class metal slope, which is a big difference, especially when you're finding something that relies on frags. There I go. I punctured through, but then they repaired the slopes, and you see I'm just gonna try to fire as much as I can to the slope right here. Come on, fire again. I just put as many shots as I want into this this skirt here, and it really doesn't do a whole lot to the machine. You see here. You can see I am doing some damage to it. I took a wheel off, I cut the skirt up, but between the repairs and the excellent armor class of the side armor, it's really hard to kill a Carolean by shooting it in the hole. I'm gonna try one more shot here. I'm gonna do what I did last time with the other one. Aim for that turret. There you go. Nothing again. That ERA ate it. So I can hit it right in the same spot one more time. Again, nothing. I must have gotten a really sweet hit on the inside there when I killed that other Carolean. Well, when you can't beat them, well, let's go in here real quick, reassign this. And I'm not going to want to use the cannon for this because I want to show what the missile can do. But you know, when the cannon fails you, you can always try this. Let's turn a little bit. Get a little bit closer. There we go. Slow you down really quickly. Alright, missile. Do your thing. And there's a high explosive blast. See the ERA just shredding clean off, the turret armor going clean off. The ERA did eat most of that, so it's safe, but the tank is definitely missing some pieces now. And now if I wanted to switch to my gun, just pop a shot in the side there. It's pretty easy to get some damage in. So the high explosive does shred off a lot of lightly armored blocks, especially surface ERA, which might otherwise block these kind of things. And there I go, clean through the side, and just blows the entire turret out of the tank. And that's the danger of using APS. No matter how well you armor it, the moment that turret gets hit, you lose a huge chunk of hit points. And you see it went straight through that side armor. There's heavy armor right there, but there's none around the front here, I don't think. Look at our Carolean real quick. Take a gander at it. See where we hit it. I hit it right here on the side, and you can see where heavy armor is right here, it's right here, but because all these components are scattered across the front here, hitting it in the corner here, right through this side where these metal pieces are, it's very easy to penetrate through. You have 1-2 layers of metal beam, and then surface ERA, and then there's batteries, and then there's repair bots, and then these juicy autoloaders right there in the front, and you can easily get around it. You just have to hit it from the right angle. You have to hit it from this angle right here. You try to go through the front, you're going to be encountering heavy armor. You try to go straight through the sides, you're going to be hitting heavy armor. Hit it from an angle just like this. But that's about it for the Caroleans. That is the Stridsvagn F, and I have been Chromewhite. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.